NUM, because that is another issue that has been raised in the past. And the question has always been, the NUM was an Anglo-American project. That's what has always been raised. And that story started being spread by some within our own ranks, who had at the time been given the responsibility to go and organize mine workers. And because their approach had not worked, they then started spreading a story as they saw the NUM growing. Now, how did we organize the NUM? James Mutlatsi, Elijah Bahai, and a number of others, Paul Nkuna, bear testimony to this. We went into the mines, started trying to organize, and mine workers would not join the union. They said, you are insurance agents, why should we come and join the union? And the question they kept on asking, Honorable Malema, have you got permission from management to come and organize us? And we said, no. They said, we don't want to get fired, so we're not going to join your union. And in any event, we think it's an insurance company. And they kept asking me, where do you come from? I would say, I come from Soweto. They said, you are a skellum from Soweto, and we're not going to join this thing of yours. And our initial plans to organize mine workers were failing. And as we saw that they were failing, we decided that rather than organize them in the way, in the streets, in the corners, in the towns, in the buses, we should rather go into the fortress where they are accommodated. Because those days, mine workers were accommodated in fortresses which were impregnable, and you could not go in. And we decided, yes, to go to the Chamber of Mines. And we said, the Vihan Commission has now declared that black mine workers can join unions. We want them to join unions. Give us access, because we do need the access to organize them. And access had been given in a number of other unions. In the factories, offices had been opened in factory environments and what have you. So we said, like it's happening in factories, we want access in the mine hostels. Previous to that, the attempts to organize mine workers, Honorable Malema, had been to try and get them in buses as they are going home in the rural areas, and they had all failed. So we decided that we will take another direction, and we did. We got access, we started organizing mine workers, and they kept asking, do you have permission? We said yes. At the time, Anglo-American and Rand Mines were the only two mining houses that had allowed unions, their workers, to join unions. And naturally, the union started growing. And it grew by leaps and bounds. And I've often said to those people who say, you are an Anglo project, I would say, why would Anglo act against its own interests? Because it was Anglo-American which was most severely affected in the strikes that mine workers embarked upon. In 1987, they got the biggest brunt of the strike at the time. So the union grew, and not only did it grow, the NUM was the first union to adopt the Freedom Charter in our country, the very first union. And following that, the NUM was the biggest motivator for the formation of COSATU. And it was the biggest union in COSATU. Now, Honorable Lekota and Honorable Malema, you raise these issues and throw around innuendo. You must realize how dangerous this is, like Dr. Motsoaledi said yesterday. The same accusation was made against Nelson Mandela when he was still in prison. Many people said Nelson Mandela was selling out. They said he was selling out because he had agreed to be separated from his comrades and was therefore in Pollsmoor alone, and he was being manipulated and he was selling out. That is the story that was peddled around. But when I met Walter Sisulu, the wise leading comrade of our movement, when I asked him about this, I said, how did you, as the elders of our movement, handle this? They said, we were never concerned about this. We looked at the character of the leader that Nelson Mandela was. That's what we looked at. And having examined his character and seen the commitment that he had made to the freedom of our people, we were least concerned about all that. Now, comrades and members on the other side, these accusations of people selling out have also led to the deaths of people, as Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi said in this very parliament. Now, Honorable Malema, you visited London a few years ago and said that Nelson Mandela was a sellout. And then there were reports, and those reports keep coming, and I was not even intending to raise it here. But I do so because we do need to deal with this issue because it's cancerous. A report that came out was that the EFF is an MI6 project. Now, I rejected that. I rejected that because I knew we were dealing with people of good character, that you would never go to that extent. And they keep coming with the position that one holds now. You keep getting all these innuendos, these accusations, and these suggestions. But in the end, you need to deal with the character of the person. Now, I have rejected those types of statements, Honorable Malema, because I look at you and I look at your character and your commitment to the people of South Africa from the platform that you now occupy. Now, it was O.R. Tambo who warned us that beware of the wedge driver. Watch his poisonous snake. These stories that are spread about people doing that and that are so dangerous. Nelson Mandela had to deal with this issue when he became president of the ANC. And he said, I keep getting all these reports. And he once said, I was his Secretary General. And he said, I get all these reports, and if I were to examine them all, more than half of the members of my NEC, you remember that, more than half the members of my NEC would be regarded as spies. And it would divide the African National Congress, and he added, it would even lead to people getting killed. Now, let us be aware of wedge drivers. Let us be aware of people who want to spread poisonous messages amongst us. I can testify, I've never, ever been a spy. I've never worked with the enemy. All I've ever done in my life is my commitment to the people of our country. That's all. That I've never done.